Hello YouTube pipers, Double O Pipe here. I bought a new tub of Carter Hall and I've been having a time trying to open the bugger. Every time I do, I spill it all over everything. Jeepers. My Molino. Oh, hang on, I gotta clean this out. Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I thought I had cleaned that out last night, but I hadn't. Sorry about those few seconds. I won't be able to erase them because I don't have a clue how to work that editing thing. I tried reading over that thing. I just don't understand it. I thought I was smart until I tried to figure it out. I don't think I'm as smart as I thought I was, because for me it just didn't make sense. I found that if I poke this, it seems to help. Maybe I packed it too tight in the past. I don't know. But, okay, my Molino is now full of Carter Hall. I will put that back where it stays. I really like that Carter Hall. It's good stuff. I got a excuse me. I got a packet of Captain Black, I think it was called, and I put it in this, which I bought a long time ago. And if you look in there, you can see how dark it is. It reminds me of walking into one of those potpourri stores back Christmas time. I don't know if they're still around or not. But they had this really sweet smell to it, and that has kind of a sweet smell to it. Well, finally, it's been a week now and it's over. And I see that the other side, all they can do is go, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. And they don't turn around and look into themselves to see that it's their own fault. They have no clue what this country is all about, obviously. I don't know if they're ever going to try and do a little self-reflection. Doesn't seem so. But that's the only way they're going to figure it out. Well, it's November, and Clyde's birthday was on the 9th, which was Saturday. He would have been, gosh, about 85. No, because he was, I can't remember now if he was, 4 years older than me or 5 years older than me. I think it's closer to 5 years. So he'd be about 82. This month he'd have been 83. He's a missed fella. Can't believe he passed away back in 96. My grandmother passed away in 1994. He passed away in 1996. And my dad passed away in 1998. 2 years interval on each of those. He died too young. But back when I first met him, when I first started to live with my grandparents, my mother had to get a job, and there was she made an arrangement with my grandmother for me to stay there Monday through Friday so that I grew up there for 4 years with that arrangement. On the weekends, I'd go home. But anyway, it was a Tuesday in November, and on the radio, they were talking about the race between Eisenhower and Stevenson. Those were the candidates. Eisenhower was Republican, Stevenson was the Democratic choice. That was back when the Democrats were not Looney Tunes to the left of where they were. Back then, they made sense. They had common sense, which they've totally lost now. But anyway, it was in the afternoon, and Clyde and I were playing with a puzzle, and the puzzle was, I don't know, I guess it was 2 feet by 3 feet on a large board that my granddaddy had brought home, and the pieces lay on that, and we were putting it together. The pieces took on the form of like airplanes, trains, cars, that kind of thing. Weren't interlocking pieces like we see today, the ones where they just stamp them out. These had actual forms to them, so that they, if you looked at them on the back, you could see what they were. Airplane, fish, you know, that kind of thing. And the puzzle Clyde told me, he said, this is the story of the tortoise and the hare. And I looked at it and I said, I don't get it. Looks like a rabbit and a turtle to me. And Clyde said, oh, Neff, what am I going to do with you? This is a puzzle. This is a puzzle. And it's about a story that they tell us kids about a tortoise and a hare. I said, well, they look like a rabbit and a turtle to me. He said, well, the rabbit is a hare. I said, that's not hair. Hair grows on your head. He said, no. You can call these animals 2 things. One's a rabbit, and the other's a hare. Hare is how it's spelled. And I said, well, why don't they just call it a rabbit? Mumbling to myself. And he said, I said, what about the turtle? Why do they call it a tortoise? He said, I don't know. They just do. That's the name of the story, the tortoise and the hare. He got kind of frustrated with me. He said, I guess it's so that dumb critters like you will ask questions. That's why they call it that. I said, oh, okay. And so they were talking about it, and he said, I said, what about on the radio? They're in a race there too? Race for the president? I said, one of them is Isa Hare? And he said, no, no, no. It's the race for the president, but it's Eisenhower, not Isa Hare. And I said, well, who's he running against? And he said, Stevedore or something like that. And I said, oh, okay. I said, so is that like this race here? And he said, well, you can hear it just like I hear it. He said, every 4 years, he was about 10, I guess. I was about 5. So I had no clue anything about the world. I didn't know. He said, well, they started the lineup early this morning. And people go out and cast their votes at the polls. I said, well, what does that mean? They throw votes at polls? He said, yeah, that's what they do. Because he didn't know any more than I did. And he said, and they got behind those polls and they took off early this morning. And they've been running ever since. And you're going to hear Eisenhower's in the lead, and then you're going to hear Stevedore's in the lead, and they're going to be running. I said, you mean like the tortoise and the hare? I said, yeah. So which one's the tortoise and which one's the hare? I's a hare? Ah, nephew. We'll have to wait till the end to see who's the hare and who's the tortoise. I said, well, anybody got any idea as to what the end might be, or who might be going to win? And he said, well, everybody knows Eisenhower's going to win. I said, well, why are they even having a race if they know he's going to win? He said, that's just the way it is. Every 4 years, they get together and they have this race to see who's going to be the next president. I puzzled over that for a bit. Well, I don't get it. They got to run through every state? He said, yeah, they got to cross every line where the polls are. That's a lot of running, I said. They're going to be mighty tired. He said, can't be helped. That's just the way the races run. So you think that when they get to the other side of the U.S., that the polls there are going to have a line across it and they're going to get up to it? He said, yeah, well, they got to, all those votes that they're casting, they got to run through those too. And I said, well, that's just going to get in their way. He said, yeah, but the more votes they got, the more yell power they're going to have. I said, yell power? What's yell power? He said, whenever they get to that clutter and they start pushing through it to get to that final clothesline, they're going to have people in the stands just standing up yelling, telling, yeah, come on, you can make it, you can make it. And whoever's got the most yell power is going to have that extra strength to get across that finish line. And I was still trying to think how this was working. And they said on the radio, it said, Eisenhower's pulling ahead. I said, well, he must be doing okay. Said, you think Stevenson's going to drop out if Eisenhower gets more votes than him? I said, well, Clyde, if Steve or whatever his name is gets more votes and they're casting them at the polls, it'll be easier for him to get through that clutter than Eisenhower. He said, no, that's not the way it works. He said he's going to be worn out and he's not going to have as much yell power as Eisenhower's going to have. Those people in the stands who cast their votes up against that poll, it ain't going to matter because they just won't be yelling loud enough to give him the energy that he's going to need to get across that line and pop that string that's on the between the poles. I said, well, it sounds like Eisenhower's going to make it. I don't know why they even have the race. He said, they got a long way to go yet, Neff. And my grandmother came in and said, well, boys, it's time to go to bed. I said, but the race is being run on the radio. She said, well, you can't stay up. They're going to be running all night. I said, boy, they're going to be powerful tired tomorrow. And she said, well, you'll just have to wait until tomorrow to find out who wins. So Clyde and I got into bed. We slept in his room. And I said, Clyde? He said, what, Neff? I said, who you think's going to win? And he said, I think it's a gone conclusion, like everybody said. Eisenhower's going to win. So he's going to be the tortoise? And he said, yeah, don't you know, you can look at a picture of Eisenhower and you can see he's no hare. I said, I sure appreciate your telling me all this stuff and learning me, because I need to know, because I'm just up a tree not knowing what's going on. He said, you stick with me, Neff. I'll learn you. I'll get you educated. Good night, Neff. I said, good night, Clyde. And we both rolled over and went to sleep. And the next day, Eyes a Hare won. Of course, now I don't think Clyde knew what he was talking about. I think he was just as much in the dark as me, because stuff he was saying didn't make any sense. But I was sitting there going, okay. Oh, yeah. Saturday would have been his birthday. All these youngster stories I tell about Clyde. When we slip into the teens, it gets a little different, because he discovered the bottle and he introduced me to the bottle. Most of our adventures after that were in a haze of alcohol, but still, I wouldn't trade the times that we had together for anything. I really wouldn't. Just another stupid story, folks, about the guy that meant a lot to me when I was growing up. Being an only child was no fun till I met my uncle. And after that, I knew what it was like to have a brother. I hope everybody is satisfied with the results of the election. I know I am. My daughter and my son are not. And I'm very sad to say they're not. Makes it hard to talk to them because they don't want to say anything about politics at all, because they do not think that I know what I'm talking about when I talk about things. And it's hard not to say anything, because I try to let them know what I see, and they just get angry. So, what can you do? Well, gosh, today's only Tuesday. First time I've done one of these on a Tuesday. I think most of the time I do them closer to the end of the week, so that I can say, have a good weekend. But I can say, if you shop at Publix, tomorrow's Geezer Day, you get a discount. And I'm going tomorrow like I always do. My discount doesn't keep it under $100 anymore, though. Gosh, I can't get out of there without spending $100 and coming home with practically nothing. Perhaps that'll change in the days to come. Take care of yourselves. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope you are satisfied with the election results, and I hope you're looking forward to happier days ahead. And God bless you. Till the next time. Bye-bye.